Step 2. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. The second step is necessary if we expect to achieve ongoing recovery. The first step leaves us with a need to believe in something that can help us with our powerlessness, uselessness, and helplessness. The first step has left a vacuum in our lives. We need to find something to fill that void. This is the purpose of the second step. Some of us didn't take this step seriously at first. We passed over it with a minimum of concern, only to find the next steps would not work until we worked step 2. Even when we admitted that we needed help with our drug problem, many of us would not admit the need for faith and sanity. We have a disease, progressive, incurable, and fatal. One way or another, we went out and bought our destruction on the time payment plan. All of us, from the junkie snatching purses to the sweet little old lady hating 2 or 3 doctors for legal prescriptions, have one thing in common. We seek our destruction a bag at a time, a few pills at a time, or a bottle at a time until we die. This is at least part of the insanity of our addiction. The price is for the addict who merely lies to a doctor. The price may seem higher for the addict who prostitutes for a fix than is for the addict who merely lies to a doctor. Ultimately, both pay for the disease with their lives. Insanity is repeating the same mistake and expecting different results. Many of us realized when we got to the program that we have gone back time again and again to using, even though we knew we were destroying our lives. Insanity is using drugs day after day, knowing that only physical and mental destruction comes when we use. The most obvious insanity of the disease of addiction is the obsession to use drugs. Ask yourself this question. Do I believe it would be insane to walk up to someone and say, "May I please have a heart attack or a fatal accident?" If you can agree that this would be an insane thing, you should have no problem with the second step. In this program, the first thing we do is stop using drugs. At this point, we begin to feel the pain of living without drugs or anything to replace them. The pain forces us to seek a power greater than ourselves that can relieve our obsession to use. The process of coming to believe is similar for most addicts. Most of us lacked a working relationship with a higher power. We begin to develop this relationship by simply admitting to the possibility of a power greater than ourselves. Most of us have no trouble admitting that addiction had become a destructive force in our lives. Our best efforts resulted in ever greater destruction and despair. At some point, we realized that we needed the help of some power greater than our addiction. Our understanding of a higher power is up to us. No one is going to decide for us. We can call it the group, the program, or we can call it God. The only suggested guidelines are that this power be loving, caring, and greater than ourselves. We don't have to be religious to accept this idea. The point is that we open our minds to believe. We may have difficulty with this, but by keeping an open mind, sooner or later we find the help we need. We talked and listened to others. We saw other people recovering, and they told us what was working for them. We began to see evidence of some power that could be fully explained. We began to see evidence of some power that could not be fully explained. Confronted with this evidence, we began to accept the existence of a power greater than ourselves. We can use this power long before we understand it. As we see coincidences and miracles happening in our lives, acceptance becomes trust. We grow to feel comfortable with our higher power as a source of strength. As we learn to trust this power, we begin to overcome our fear of life. The process of coming to believe restores us to sanity. The strength to move into action comes from this belief. We need to accept this step to start on the road to recovery. When our belief has grown, we are ready for step 3. Step 3. We made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. As addicts, we turned our will and our lives over many times to a destructive power. Our will and our lives were controlled by drugs. We were trapped by our need for instant gratification that drugs gave us. During that time, our total being, body, mind, and spirit, was dominated by drugs. For a time, it was pleasurable. Then the euphoria began to wear off, and we saw the ugly side of addiction. We found that the higher our drugs took us, the lower they brought us. We faced two choices. Either we suffered the pain of withdrawal or we took more drugs. For all of us, the day came when there was no longer a choice we had to use. Having given our will and our lives to our addiction in utter desperation, we looked for another way. In Narcotics Anonymous, we decide to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understand Him. This is a giant step. We don't have to be religious. Anyone can take the step. All that is required is willingness. All that is essential is that we open the door to a power greater than ourselves. Our concept of God comes not from dogma, but from what we believe and from what works for us. Many of us understand God to be simply whatever force keeps us clean. The right to a God of your own understanding is total. I'm going to repeat that because it's very important. The right to a God of your understanding is total and without any catches. Because we have this right, it is necessary to be honest about our belief if we are to grow spiritually. We found that all we need to do was try. When we gave our best effort, the program worked for us as it has worked for countless others. The third step does not say we turned our will and our lives over to the care of God. It says we made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. We made the decision. It was not made for us by the drugs or our families, a probation officer, judge, therapist, or doctor. We made it. For the first time since the first high, we have made a decision for ourselves. The word decision implies action. This decision is based on faith. We have only to believe that the miracle that we seek working in the lives of clean addicts can happen to any addict with a desire to change. We simply realize there is a force for spiritual growth that can help us become more tolerant, patient, and useful in helping others. Many of us have said, "Take my will and my life, guide me in my recovery, show me how to live." The relief of letting go and letting God helps us develop a life that is worth living. Surrendering to the will of a higher power gets easier with daily practice. When we honestly try, it works. Many of us start our day with a simple request for guidance from a higher power, from our higher power. Although we know that turning it over works, we may still take our will and life back. We may even get angry because God permits it. At times during our recovery, the decision to ask for God's help is our greatest source of strength and courage. We cannot make this decision often enough. We surrender quietly and let the God of our understanding take care of us. At first, our heads reeled with the questions. What will happen when I turn my life over? Will I become perfect? We may have been more realistic than this. Some of us had to turn to an unexperienced NA member and ask what it was like for you. What was it like for you? Some of us may have had to turn to an experienced NA member and ask, what was it like for you? The answer will vary from member to member. Most of us feel open-mindedness, willingness, and surrender are the keys to this step. We have surrendered our will and our lives to the care of a power greater than ourselves. If we are thorough and sincere, we will notice a change for the better. Our fears are lessened, and faith begins to grow as we learn the true meaning of surrender. We are no longer fighting fear, anger, guilt, self-pity, or depression. We realize that the power that brought us to this program is still with us and will continue to guide us if we allow it. We are slowly beginning to lose the paralyzing fear of hopelessness. The proof of this step is shown in the way we live. We have come to enjoy living clean and want more of the good things that NA fellowship holds for us. We know now that we cannot pause in our spiritual program. We want all that we can get. We are now ready for the first honest self-appraisal, and we begin with step 4.